Let's talk about that little box in the corner of your office. You know, your router. It might seem pretty harmless, but there could be a critical flaw hiding inside that needs your attention. Like right now. We're going to break down exactly what it is and, more importantly, how you can fix it.
So, let me just ask you straight up. Is that office router of yours a security risk? You might not think so, but stick with me for just a few minutes, because not only will you know the answer, you'll know exactly what you need to do about it.
Look, I totally get it. You're running a business, right? You're juggling invoices, you're on calls with clients, you have a million things to do. That little Wi-Fi box, it's probably the absolute last thing on your mind. And you know what? That's exactly what attackers are counting on.
Okay, so first things first, let's really get a handle on this threat. We're calling this a flaw in the gateway for a good reason. Your router, it's not just some piece of tech. You got to think of it as the digital front door to your entire business network.
All right, so here's the deal. ASUS has put out a really urgent warning. It's about a critical flaw in their routers, specifically the ones that have this feature called AiCloud enabled. Now, if that sounds like the kind of router you have sitting in your office, you're going to want to pay very close attention.
Now, there's a technical name for this, CVE something something. But don't worry about the alphabet soup of numbers. What you really need to know is what it means. And it means this. An attacker can just completely bypass your router's password. It's like they have a skeleton key to your digital front door.
So, you're probably wondering, how in the world does that even happen? Well, let's pull back the curtain and see exactly how these attackers can just waltz right past the security you thought was protecting you.
Okay, so deep down in the router's software, there's this broken conversation happening. You've got the AiCloud feature, the thing that lets you get to your files from anywhere, and it's just not talking correctly to another piece of code used for file sharing called Samba. It sounds like a tiny little technical glitch, right? But the consequences are huge.
And the result of that glitch? Well, it means an attacker can get in and start running their own commands on your router. And the scary part? No password needed. They basically hijack the traffic cop for your whole network. Suddenly, they get to decide where all your sensitive data goes.
All right, this is where it gets really serious. Let's talk about the worst-case scenarios, because once an attacker has control of that router, the potential for damage is just massive. And hey, this isn't just me being dramatic. The security researchers who found this are calling it, and I'm quoting here, the worst-case scenario for any business network, especially if you're dealing with things like sensitive client information, financial records. You get the picture. So what happens next? Once they're in, what can they actually do? Well, the list is pretty terrifying. They can hit you with ransomware and lock up all your files. They can just sit there and vacuum up customer data as it flies by. They can build themselves a secret backdoor so they can come and go as they please. And maybe the worst part, they can use your router as a launchpad to attack everything else on your network, your servers, your computers, everything. And here's the real kicker. The attacker could be on the other side of the planet. They don't need to be anywhere near your office. If that AiCloud feature is turned on, your network's front door is basically unlocked and wide open for anyone on the internet to try and walk through. Okay, that was a lot of bad news, I know. But here's the good news, and it's really good. There's a direct, simple fix for this. So let's not waste any time. Let's walk through the 3 steps you need to take right now. So the first thing you need to know is that ASUS is on top of this. They haven't just left you hanging. They've already released a firmware update, a patch, that slams this security hole shut, completely. The fix is out there, it's available, and it's just waiting for you to install it. And getting it done is honestly super simple. It's just 3 steps. 1. Log into your router's admin page. 2. Find the firmware update section and just click to install the latest version. And 3. After it's done, just restart the router. Boom, that's it. Door locked. Now, what if you're not the IT person in your office? No problem. If you have an IT department or you use an outside company, your job is even easier. Just send them this information and tell them this update needs to be a top priority, like a do-it-today kind of priority. Okay, so we've patched the hole, but we're not quite finished, because real network security isn't about just one fix. It's about changing our mindset and building good habits that'll protect you for the long haul. So many of us are guilty of this, right? The set-it-and-forget-it approach. We plug in the router and just assume it's fine. We treat it like a toaster, but we need to stop that. We have to start treating it like what it is, a critical piece of our security system. It needs regular checkups. We have to move from being reactive to being proactive, hunting down these security holes before they become a problem. So what does that actually look like in practice? It's pretty simple. Here's your new routine. First, if your router has an automatic updates feature, turn it on. It's a no-brainer. Second, go in there and turn off any remote features you aren't actually using, like AiCloud. If you don't need it, disable it. And finally, just put a reminder in your calendar to check for firmware updates once a quarter. That's it.
I want to leave you with one final thought, a really powerful image from the researchers. An unpatched ASUS router with AiCloud turned on. It's not just a vulnerability. It's like hanging a giant flashing neon sign outside your business that says, "Free entry, come on in." You would never do that to your physical office, so don't let that be your digital one.
So please, take these simple steps. Go secure your gateway. Lock that digital front door. But while you're at it, start thinking about the next question. Okay, the front door is secure. What's my next weakest link? Because good security isn't a one-and-done thing. It's an ongoing process.